Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland, this is for you.
What is up, Cavs fans? Welcome to another edition of Block the Shot to Stop. Skylar, I think you were going to lead us in, so I'm going to kick it to you.
Man. Yeah, welcome back to Block the Shot to Stop. Welcome back to our rewatch of the 2016 NBA Finals, the 10-year anniversary. Crazy to say that it's been 10 years since the NBA Finals. Today, we have Luka from RealCavsFans.com. Excellent article writer, Twitter follow, just everything. He's super busy right now because we're getting close to the trade deadline, but he was gracious enough to come here and talk about the incredible Game 5 from this series.
Appreciate having me, and probably if there was two to have 41 points, if we're just attributing skill and talent, I probably wouldn't be one of them. So props to you guys.
No, but that's why we wanted you, because we always want you to come on. We always enjoy all of your insights and vast knowledge, but this game is a historical game, not only for the Cavs, but in NBA Finals lore. It's not very often two guys combined for 92 points, over 40 points apiece. And frankly, it's a really fun game to talk about. It's the time of the series that it gets fun talking about. So we're glad you could join us and hop in and talk about some historical perspective of this performance by two Cavs legends.
I did my homework, so I'm ready whenever you guys want me to turn it in.
I love it. I love it. I'll let you go first, Luka. We just talk about we all just recently rewatched the game, kind of refreshed our memories and everything. So give me a little bit about your impressions of the game, rewatching it 10 years later, maybe what you recall thinking about at the time versus what you saw in a rewatch. What did you enjoy Game 5 of the 2016 NBA Finals?
Now or then?
Both.
I enjoyed it when it was ending, when you knew they were winning, not leading in. I mean, I think as most Cleveland fans feel, I'm not going to get my hopes up because I'm just going to be let down. Even when they're up, something's going to happen. That's just the emotion. So I don't think you can, at least from my perspective, you really can't truly enjoy it until it's over, and knowing that your eyes aren't going to mislead you and your heart's not going to be broken. So once it was over, yes, you can enjoy it. And going back now, you can enjoy it. But otherwise, I mean, I'm just kind of an aesthetics person. So some of the things I just noticed first off was the baggy shorts. I mean, just seeing the shift in, I mean, it's 10 years ago and how much that's even changed, or even the refs' uniforms. It's I feel like every single time you go back and look and kind of watch games, it's the refs have a different uniform on and it looks completely different than it is today. And you don't even feel like the refs are wearing anything crazy, but somehow they are. But I wrote down a few quotes too. It was just funny, literally on an opening tip, Mike Breen says, they say closeout games are the toughest ones to win. Little does he know that kind of sets the scene for the rest of the series. But no, I mean, even some of the stats too. I just was looking at some of the stuff, and the pace rating was 98.9, which at the time, the Warriors played at some of the fastest paces in the league. Obviously, the Cavs were more of a half-court team at that time, but 98.9 now is a snail's pace. So just to even think 10 years from there to where we are now, and the crazy stat, which I didn't see if that's been broken since then, but that game had the most points in the first half of a finals game since 1987, 122 points, which again, now it's that's usually what the halftime score is. So just to see kind of the evolution from 10 years ago to where we are now, just in those kind of small tidbits, just crazy to think about.
No, those are a few good ones. I like the baggy shorts. On a previous episode, I called out the ridiculous t-shirt jerseys that the Cavs have.
Those are my favorite.
I did. Oh, I think it's so bad. As a guy that played some basketball at a very low level, nothing ever serious, but I hated the t-shirt under the jersey, or in this case, a t-shirt jersey. Even when I bought Rec League, I didn't have any impressive biceps to show off, but first thing I did is cut the sleeves off. I can't do it. But Skylar, let me kick it to you. Kind of on your rewatch, what are some of the things that stood out to you, both, watching it now, or maybe things that you recalled thinking at the time?
I mean, we've done a few of these already, but every time I gotta say, I just remember how much disdain I had for Warriors fans because the arena was so loud, so electric. Like you basically had to watch these on mute whenever you were at the bar or something when they're on because it was just like crippling to hear, especially after last year or the prior year where they lose to the Warriors in 6 and then kind of don't feel the momentum gaining for the Cavs in this series. So I remember just like, and even now, like it was like PTSD flashbacks, like hearing the crowd lose its mind. And then
Can I ask you a question about that? So what do you think is worse, the Warriors fans then, Detroit basketball back in the LeBron Pistons era, the Boston announcer who was terrible, or the Miami 2 minutes guy? Which of those do you despise the most?
It's always going to be everything Celtics for you. You as soon as you said Celtics, you had me at that. That's my answer. What about you, Skylar?
To me it was the Golden State crowd, and it's not because like that's a bad thing. Like it's good that they had a rowdy, boisterous crowd. Like that's a great thing for sports. But when you're on the other team watching that, like it hurts. And then it was something that just never went away because it was every game in Oakland was like that. Game 7 was like that. And it's just like, and especially for this Warriors team that played with such a fast pace and they were just absolute heat check from 3-pointers. Like every 3-pointer was just bang. Oh, and you're like, yeah, like every bucket felt like a backbreaker.
Yeah, it did. On rewatching this game, there's again, it's been 10 years, so there's things details and things you forget. Like I kind of forgot the sequence of Kevin Love. We mentioned in our game 2 watch. I knew he had a concussion. I forgot it happened in game 2, which was like the lowest point of the series anyway for the Cavs. And you tack on the fact that it looks like Kevin Love might not play again in the series at that point. And so in game 5, he actually came back in game 4 and played kind of limited minutes off the bench. And then game 5, he's back in the starting lineup. Statistically, did not have a good game at all. But I merely think the presence of him and what it did to the rotation, like really, really mattered. The other thing, the way I remembered this game, all these years is that, Klay Thompson kind of called out LeBron after game 4, said he got his feelings hurt, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, he owned Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson had 37 points in this game and was in 6 3-pointers. I'm like, no, that's Klay Thompson was actually kind of awesome in this game. And then kind of what Luka, what you were talking about with the points, and I'll kind of turn it back to you after this. Like, you're right that it was very high scoring for that time in the first half, even the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter was an absolute slog. Like the Cavs only scored 19 points, but were actually +6 because the Golden State only scored 13. Like it was ugly offensive basketball, with the exception of Kyrie Irving, who I feel like made every shot for the Cavs in the fourth quarter. It seemed like he just like made play after play throughout the game, obviously when you score 41 points, but I thought in the fourth quarter in particular, he was phenomenal. So what kind of with that, like we'll kind of talk about lead us in an individual performance. Like as far as individuals go, what stuck out to you, Luka?
The Kyrie Irving thing I was watching, I particularly remember I think it was like at the 5-minute mark, where he skids on the floor, has one hand down, turn around, fadeaway jump shot. Almost that pose reminded me, if you guys remember the old NBA Street game, and that the cover with the guy, doing the crossover. It almost kind of reminded me of like that type of move. It just to pull it off in the finals at that time, that critical juncture is just ridiculous. But I mean, I think that fourth quarter is kind of what we think about prime playoff basketball as far as mismatch hunting goes. As far as LeBron and Kyrie just pulling Steph in the pick and roll, trying to get the switch on the Steph, and then same thing in the other end, they were hunting those mismatches too. So, when you think about today and then, there's still some of that, but that just what that series was about. I just remember, hearing can Steph hold up based off of LeBron, calling out that mismatch, especially at that point in the game. But I mean, individual performance wise, I mean, just how Mike Breen, and I think in game 6 he had talked about, like, we had never seen LeBron shoot that good in the playoff series before, and just seeing how well he shot the ball and how much that changed the dynamic for him was kind of what stuck out for LeBron. And then for Kyrie, I mean, I don't know if there's too many other players that are as good as far as being able to get into a spot, getting in and out of dribbles, just being explosive and doing that, on top of just how good of a finesse finisher he was and how adept he was at either hand, especially around the rim. Like, it wasn't a powerful finisher, based off of high flying athleticism and throwing it down, but just based off all the different angles he had and going off the board, and it's just nuts just to watch it now and just see kind of what we take for granted.
He is, and I forget who it was, but it was a national guy described it as like, he's the most coordinated person they've ever seen in his life. And I thought that's a great description of, I think it was Zach Lowe, if I remember correctly. Like he is that everybody talks about his handle, which is absolutely famous and one of the best in basketball history. But you're right. His finishing with both hands and like how smooth his moves were to finish at the basket in a crowd, or somehow like free himself up to where he's by himself at the basket because he left someone in the dust 10 feet from it. Absolutely incredible. Skylar, what about you? When you kind of look at individual performances, I mean, there's three guys that stand out. Obviously it's LeBron, Kyrie, and then Klay on the other side. But was there anybody else? Did you get stuck on Kyrie also, or were you drawn to somebody else's performance?
I'll go with LeBron because it wasn't just the offense that he was giving this team. I mean, obviously 41 points, but to give you 16 rebounds, 3 steals, and 3 blocks, 2 of them chase down blocks, not the infamous Game 7 chase down, but this was like the LeBron both ways of the floor that, I mean, he famously could just turn this on in the finals, like just like a flip of a switch, and just went into a different mode. And you really saw that in this game. And I mean, the kind of elephant in the room, this is the game that shifted the entire series, obviously with no Draymond Green facing suspension during this game for kicking everybody in the nuts. But hey,
you guys asked about MVPs. Draymond was my MVP for the game.
That's a great call. And we should have let in with that. That's obviously the huge storyline coming into this game. The Warriors go up after game 4, 3-1, but in the process, Draymond Green receives, I don't know, 16th, 17th technical, whatever it is, the one that put him over the limit that he had to be suspended or they had to redact it. They chose not to redact it. He's suspended for game 5, which kind of really set up the storylines for the rest of this game and the rest of the series. No, well, you kind of live with that, but why? Well, let me turn this to you. If Draymond's your MVP, do the Cavs win Game 5 if Draymond plays? How do you think revisionist history? How does this game end if Draymond's not suspended?
That's a great question. That's why he's my MVP, because I don't want to know. I mean, at that time, I think he had a lot more mobility. And just being able to go small ball 5 with him and still have the strength and mobility to really, deal with some of those pick and rolls that they couldn't. I mean, they were throwing Bogut out there. Bogut got hurt, and they had Festus Ezeli. They had LeBron doing a jumper over Anderson Varejao. They had James Michael McAdoo playing 4 or 5 minutes. So, I mean, you just think about who those pick and rolls and kind of the situations we're going to between Kyrie and LeBron. That plays a big part in that, because you can't put those guys I just said on LeBron and Kyrie. So, I mean, I think from a multitude of obviously just him not being there, I think impacts of just seeing how the game played out and kind of how they were playing. Seriously, I think that does change the dynamic and of how the game goes, but also I think then that kind of builds a momentum for kind of moving forward.
No, you're right. Because without Draymond, Steve Kerr was kind of throwing stuff at the wall this game. Like he played
Maurice Spates.
He played 12 guys while the game was competitive, right? I mean, it wasn't like a few guys get in for the last couple of minutes when the game was decided. He could not find a 5th guy that he felt good with in Draymond's place. So I actually don't think it's a bad call to have Draymond as your MVP. But with that, Skylar, who would be your MVP of this game?
It's got to be Kyrie. I mean, the efficient shooting, he really was the Robin to Batman. I know he probably hates that comparison and hates that lingo, but this was really the game that Kyrie took over. It just felt like every shot was a heat check. Every shot was automatic. I didn't want anybody else to get the ball other than Kyrie and LeBron, and nobody else got the ball other than Kyrie and LeBron. Those two together was 54 shots.
Yeah. And in the fourth quarter in particular, Kyrie has 12, LeBron has 5, the rest of the team has 2. So, I went back and forth quite a bit, and honestly, I'm just going to go with LeBron just to speak a little bit about LeBron this game, because I think it's easy to get caught up in Kyrie. Kyrie was awesome this whole series. Like, he actually in the 2 games before, which were both losses, he had 34 and 30 points. Like, he was cooking this whole series. They couldn't guard him, and Klay Thompson was an elite defender at that time, chasing him around. So that's just kind of shows you how impressive Kyrie was. I think, well, Kyrie was kind of the closer and obviously the offensive engine, which is crazy to say when LeBron scored 41 points. I thought LeBron controlled this game, like on both ends of the floor, kind of how you alluded to not only have the 41 points, but to 16 rebounds. He has 6 stocks, 3 steals, 3 blocks in this game. He drew, if it's a little different in 2 different places, but he either drew 7 or 9 fouls against the Warriors. He literally just did every single facet of this game. He's filling in for, frankly, some of what Kevin Love gives them, and that's why he ends up with 16 boards, because Kevin Love's, I don't know, walking around woozy still with a concussion that maybe shouldn't even be on the floor. But I don't know. I don't think you can go wrong. Actually, any of those 3 picks, I think any of those 3 picks are like super legitimate. So with that, we're going to get into our questions or get into the rest of our questions for each episode. So, Luke, I'll go to you first. Mm-hmm. Is there one defining play of this game, you think, or is there one that sticks out to you?
I'd probably say that the Kyrie move I talked about before. 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That kind of turnaround jumper, not giving into a turnover at that point in time and getting a clutch bucket. I mean, I think that's kind of one of the ones that sticks out in my head.
Yeah, I think that's a really good one. Skylar, what about you?
I'll say something different, even though that was probably going to be the one I was picked too. But I'll go with the chase down block that LeBron had on Iguodala. Iguodala's taking the ball up, trying to go right at Kyrie to draw a foul, and Bron just out of nowhere, just like a eagle, comes up and blocks that shot. And his defensive prowess on this entire series is just incredible.
I agree. I actually have a different LeBron block, but it's the one in the third quarter. So the game's tied at halftime, and like early in the third quarter, he makes a huge block on Steph going in for a layup that it literally lands in the second row of the stands on the sideline, and that just seemed to get them fired up. The Cavs went on like a, I think 12-2 run after that block and basically stretched the lead out for the first time in the game. The whole game was back and forth until like mid third quarter there. And so I thought that was really more than anything like a momentum play, and they kind of, carried it on from there. Skylar, I'll let you go first on this next one. At the end of this game, how are you feeling about the Cavs' chances of winning the series?
I was all the way back in, like down 3-1. Yeah, you're down 3-1. You're going back to Golden State. You're thinking this is doomed. Mm-hmm. Now you're 2-3.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're 2-3. You're only a game behind. You're bringing it back to Cleveland. Like I felt so much like back into it. Granted, ultimate optimist, I understand that, but like just the storylines around it, like bringing the game back with a chance to tie this series up, like I felt good coming out of this game.
Yeah. Luka, what about you?
I think about the Dumb and Dumber gif of, so you're telling me there's a chance.
Yeah. Okay.
And, still, there's still that eternal pessimist, I guess, on the balancing of this. Usually I'm the optimist, but it's just like, okay, like we won a game. But really to me, I was just like, just get the game 7. Like, I don't care if, last thing I want to do is lose on our home floor and have them celebrate there. Like, just at least get the game 7, at least make it a series, at least give us a chance. If that happens, great. At this point, it was a good comeback. But I mean, I felt decently confident going back home, especially seeing how they played, going back home to Cleveland where they, played pretty well. Also, the entirety of the playoffs. So I felt good about that. Just get the game 7 and give us a chance.
So I tend to lean towards Luka, but like I was actually pretty optimistic for a reason we haven't talked about. Steph, at the end of this game, I remember talking to a friend. I'm like, Steph Curry doesn't look great. He has not been playing well most of the series, and now we've got it to 2-3. you just need to get a win at home, and then anything happens in Game 7. And if Steph isn't Steph, I didn't believe that this team could beat Cleveland. So that was really my turning point. They win when they win this game. I'm feeling more optimistic than I probably should have. I'm thinking better than 50% chance they win this series, which is very optimistic when you're down 2-3 still. But my biggest key, after this game, and it was kind of going into our next question, and I guess I'll kind of start it. I thought the key was, can you keep limiting Steph Curry? It sounds really easy, and nobody could do it for years leading up to that. But this was about the worst playoff series he ever played. And there's lots of speculations here later that he was having problems with his ankle. He was getting frustrated. You remember Game 6 is when he threw the mouthpiece. I think some of that frustration was definitely from his play as much as the refs. So, both my optimism and my key to Game 6, I'm like, can they keep Steph from getting on track? If Steph's not on track, I think they can win. What about you, Luka? What were you thinking, kind of going to the next game, keys?
I mean, to your point, the next game, Game 6, he was 8 for 20.
Yeah.
I just always remember playing the Warriors. You had to pick your poison. You're going to try to limit Steph and Klay, or are you going to try to limit the role players and let them do their thing? Because if you do both, it's just game over, because their shooting around them was so good that it just made them even more dangerous. So, I mean, I think you kind of had to pick your poison as far as where you limit things. But even going back through some of the game logs and just looking at stuff, you just really get an appreciation for the best players matter in the series.
Yep.
Obviously, Andre Iguodala was really important, and Draymond Green was obviously important too. But looking at the bench, I mean, Leandro Barbosa, Fessa Ezeli, Sean Livingston, those are the players that are getting playoff minutes in a final series, and ultimately, didn't really matter. It mattered how good Klay Thompson, how good Steph Curry was, how good LeBron was, how good Kyrie was, with respect to some particular plays, but really just going through and looking at that of who has the best players. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just really about pick your poison as far as who you're going to stop. And, they had a pretty good defensive performance in Game 6 that kind of helped pave the way for Game 7.
Yeah, totally agree. Skylar, what about you? Kind of after this game, like you said, you're all the way back in. You think the Cavs will win the series. What did you think they either need to continue to do, or do differently in Game 6 to make that happen?
Keep being frustrating. As you mentioned, you could tell there were cracks in the armor, that they were getting under these guys' skin, whether it was Draymond kind of chipping back, whether it was Steph throwing his mouthpiece and barking at refs, which he's not known to do. Can you keep getting under these guys' skin? Can you keep applying the pressure to make them crumble and crack? That was my key. And whether that was the Cavs on court doing it, or just being so rowdy as fans for Game 6, keep applying that pressure to crumble, not just crumble performance wise, but personality, get under their skins. I don't know if you guys remember this, but this was the team that had the suits with the shorts, coming in, just on purpose to try and get under their skin, whether it's just how you show up to the arena. That was the key for me.
Yeah.
So you're saying if there was a betting sites back then, you were putting all your money on Game 6 and Game 7?
Oh yeah. Yeah, all the maybe $50 I had, because I was just graduated college at that point. I wasn't even really working yet.
Skylar's one of those people. If he gets in trouble betting wise, it's because he always bets on his own team to win. He's the Pete Rose of fandom.
Absolutely.
So before we get to wrap this up and everything, Luka, any additional thoughts on this game in particular, or also want to get your thoughts on kind of the series as a whole? Obviously, we're here to talk about Game 5, but this is the only episode you're on with us. Would love to talk any other, either memories you had or things you kind of think is super interesting about the series, because I keep arguing this is the best NBA series of this century, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, one of the other things I wrote down when I was rewatching it is just something I kind of had forgotten about, was because I'm always remembering Sean Livingston for his mid-range jumper and that just being absolute money. But the poster he had of Richard Jefferson, I mean, that was just an absolute nasty dunk that he had.
Poor RJ.
You didn't realize he still had it after all those, knee surgeries. So just seeing that, it's just funny too, going back and watching, just seeing the small Mo Williams sightings, it's just a forgotten figure in the Cavalier history of seeing him get some Game 7 minutes even. I just love the JR alley oops. I mean, just kind of like the lob, just tossing it up over, and that was something that always stuck out about that series. But and also too, one more thing I'll mention for the stat I want to get to is I was watching also some of the post game stuff, and it was kind of cool looking back upon it. I don't remember where it's at right now, and you guys know, but seeing the finals puzzle that they had in the locker room, where after every win, someone would place a puzzle into the finals trophy, and then to get 16 wins, there were 16 pieces, just like that type of stuff, which is cool. Just looking back upon and seeing that. But I did the homework assignment. I know you guys wanted to figure out what duo had the most points in playoff history and kind of where Kyrie and LeBron ranked, particularly for this game with their 82 points. So can you guess what the highest point total was? And if you can't guess the exact number, who either team or player that was a part of it for the top two?
All right.
So this is playoffs in general, not necessarily finals or elimination.
So process of elimination, I'm going to guess it happened in the 80s. Is that right?
Tied. So the finals record for combined points happened in the 60s.
Okay. All right.
But the overall playoff record happened in the 80s.
Yeah, I'm thinking 80s because for people who aren't NBA historians, like the offensive production greatly, peaks and craters at different decades. Like the 90s was like the worst era for offensive basketball ever, as far as just statistical efficiency, all of those things. And that lasted into the early 2000s. So, and I feel like if it happened in the offensive boom that we're in now in the last like five to 10 years, I would remember it. So like, I was going to guess it was either a Bird and McHale or like a Magic and Worthy, something like that.
You're close.
Okay.
So for the top three performances for teammates in a playoff single game were all 87 points. One was Jordan and Orlando Woolridge, 1986, Celtics Bulls, 62.
Wouldn't have got that.
I know. It's like a trivia question. And then MJ did it again with Pippen in 92, and then 87 points. And Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, 87 points, finals game 5. So that was actually Elgin Baylor, Jerry West is the most by two teammates in a finals game. And the crazy thing was, I think that it kind of gives me a little more appreciation for the 82 points is all those other games. Elgin Baylor had 61, MJ had 56, MJ had 63. So it was really one team or one player carrying that 82. The fact that they had it split evenly, just I don't know, that gives me a little more appreciation because I'm biased. Which is the fact that it was like truly a teammate performance, not just one person carrying points, just the next highest person adding to that total.
I completely agree, and that's like that makes total sense to me because I think I felt like it was so rare. Maybe I should have said like, has there ever been two teammates that scored 40 plus in the same playoff game or finals game or something like that? Because that's like the balance of it is what's so rare, and it seems so rare to me. Like now that you say that, I'm like, yeah, Jordan probably scored 60 in a playoff game, and the next closest guy had 20 or something like that. So no, that's really interesting. Yeah, absolutely historic performance by those guys. Anything else from you on Game 5, Skylar? Before we let set the stage for Luka, tell us his Game 7 experience.
Nothing left for me. I'm excited to hear this.
Yes. So Luka, every guest that we come on, no matter what game it is, we want to hear your story about the fast forwarding the Cavs win the finals, Game 7. Give us your story, how you remember it happening, if you remember what you were doing, who you were watching with, and everything. We'd love to hear how you celebrated Cleveland's only championship in like 60 something years.
Yeah. And before that, I'll fact check real quick. So LeBron and Kyrie are the only duo in finals history to have 40 plus points each as teammates. So
that's awesome.
Want to make sure we confirm that. Yeah, I remember watching it with a bunch of friends. There was a group of us that got together and watched it like as a watch party. To me, it was a little bit more stressful because I'm much more like a isolated game watching experience where I want like my stuff, my seat, my drink, my TV, the volume control, like I can control all that. So the fact that it was kind of like a group experience was even more stressful for me.
Yeah.
But I guess, there's other people there to bounce your crazy thoughts off of and have that banter back and forth. And you say something negative, like, no, it's going to be okay. So, that helps having those people there. But it was in downtown Cleveland at someone's apartment at the time. So, definitely a fun experience. And I think then once it happens, it's like, you're trying to reconcile what actually happened.
Yeah.
And I just remember kind of at that time being in downtown Cleveland, man, just all hell breaking loose. Like, people running in the streets, popping champagne bottles in the streets. The police not really doing anything because what are they going to do? Like, if anything, they're probably right there with you. So just remembering like the mass chaos of just everything going on in downtown Cleveland, like a good celebration too. It wasn't like cars being set on fire or stuff like that.
Right.
It was just, just no one knew what to do with their body or their hands, their movements, because like you don't know what you're experiencing. So just doing that, and I just remember too, I was with a group of friends, and then also too, just like finding scattering of people I knew just kind of throughout the celebration. It's like, how did you get here? Or like, where did I see you? Or, stuff like that. So just being able to rejoice in that. But yeah, that was definitely a good time, and hopefully we'll see it again here soon.
Yeah, I sure hope so. You like everybody else will have to listen to the Game 7 episodes. That's where Skylar and I share our experiences. But with that, Skylar, I'll let you get us out of here.
Yeah, so thank you again, everybody, for tuning in and joining us through this rewatch series. Please follow Luka on X. Please check out their website. They have great articles. They're especially going to be super busy.
He's always
here at the trade
tweeting.
deadline.
He's always tweeting. He'll fill your whole timeline. I love it.
Apologies.
No, don't apologize.
Nothing to
I
apologize.
would so much rather have my whole timeline be Cavs stuff than anything else you find on that.
So please give him a follow. Please give them all the views and attentions for everything. Please subscribe to us here on YouTube as we continue to grow this channel and put out new content. And always listen to the audio version of this podcast. It's absolutely free. We're on all of the platforms. It helps us out a lot. So be a friend, tell a friend. We're just Cavs fans putting on a good show for other Cavs fans. So let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't. We love fan interaction. So follow us on social media as well. So for Luka at realcavsfans.com, for Kevin here at Block the Shot to Stop, I'm Skylar Wepper. We'll get out of here. And as always,
Go Cavs.